They're counting on you. Against all odds, we've made it this far. But we both know that the old ways aren't going to work this time. This journey has changed us, changed you. But it's not over yet. You need the right tools for the job. Troza! It has been a dang minute since we've been back here. Hello, hello. The early crew came in strong this evening. Coop Waffles, welcome in. Azure, good to see you. Lord Pastor, good to see you again. Savage, welcome in. Anvil, thank you so much for the sub. 8 months. God damn, that's almost a full pregnancy. That's almost the full 9. Thank you for the tea. Magilla, welcome in. Good to see you. Varsuk, Sweeper, welcome in. A Wolf Alone, hello, hello. Spam Viking. Rough weather in Middle Tennessee for the past week. Kind of just want a few days of sun and clear skies. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? I can't. I haven't seen the sun in weeks. Robert Morris, welcome in. Fox of RPG, tuning in from YouTube, welcome in. And Cooperative Waffles once more on YouTube. Greetings and felicitations yourself. How are all y'all doing? We had a crazy week. We had a crazy, crazy, crazy week last week. Hey, Dougie, welcome in. Good to see you. And Anvil, yeah, thank you so much for the sub. We super appreciate it. Real Long Shot, welcome in. There were regrettable gaps, I'm afraid. Well, hey, it happens to the best of us. What matters is that you're back. One of us. One of us. How are you feeling? Better, I hope? Definitely better. We're still not at like 100%, but that's okay. We're gonna get there. I had to have a reckoning with myself like this morning or yesterday about how I'm not gonna feel like this forever. It's gonna pass. It knocked us both out for a really long time. Over a week. Well over a week.
Yeah, I think we had the flu.
We're pretty sure we had the flu. There was like a weird back and forth where I thought it might be COVID, and then I had a test that kind of looked positive, and then we both had a negative test after that, so kind of thought maybe not, then thought it might be the flu, and then I was looking at my symptoms and it seemed more like COVID, but yeah, so whatever it was, it stuck around for a pretty long time. Saltwater, welcome and good to see you. And Dark Elf Twilight, Troza, good to see you. What happened last week? Nothing on social media or Discord. Yeah, you know, we kept it pretty low-key. We didn't have too much to say about it. We just wanted the certain special few to be in the know. Kern, welcome in. Good to see you. Man, oh man, but this is kind of our first week sort of back to normal. I mean, so we had our Castle Zagig campaign that ended last week, and that's been running for about a month. And it's been insane. We've been moving at a breakneck pace for, 4 weeks straight. And now I just kind of got to do like regular duties. I forgot a little bit what my job was when it's not like backer kit and crowdfunding. Not that I do the bulk of the work, but yeah. I'll be traveling Michigan soon for the holidays, so I'm stoked for that. How was GaryCon? Dude, hell yeah. That's awesome. I hope that it gets like nicer for you outside than it has been today. We had snow and it was cold and it's just been rough. Testing out the stream on my new tablet. Ooh, that's always fun. Are you one of those people who appreciates like the new electronic smell? I've never fully gotten the hype. I appreciate being able to peel off the little plastic thing off the screen. Probably gonna lurk real quick while I shower. Just got rent finally paid, so I bought my conditioner and can fix this rat's nest of a maid. That's relatable. I got hired for a second job. Your girl's jumping back into retail, and I'm gonna have an employee's discount on all sorts of shampoos and conditioners where I'm going. So very excited. Did anyone lose their voice after Friday? I was starting to. But I don't know, because the next day was Saturday. I think we all slept except for Steve, who went up to his cabin, which had flooded because the man can't catch a break. Did Steven survive the flood? Barely. He's still out there. The stump survived the flood, so that's really what matters. Can't wait for the Castle Zagig fulfillment. Neither could we. I'm so excited. What was it? Q1 of 2026? I think it's gonna fly. It's gonna fly by. Did the tomato light get damaged? Yes, I broke it on stream the first day that I had it set up. This
has not been fixed to the light at any point since I've had it. And I dropped it on the ground, and a little piece of it broke off. The Aihrde book is so useful for me as a world builder. Honestly, Aihrde and the Codex of Aihrde are the blueprints. Absolutely. They're so helpful. The wind coming out of the north is a bit chilly today. Just a bit. Just a bit. It's only been a little crazy up there. I'm pretty sure... I think some folks are still missing power up there, which has been rough. Peeling the plastic cover is the best. Oh, there's nothing like it. It makes me feel like, yeah, I bought this. Congrats. Thank you, Greg. I super appreciate that. It'll be fun, and like the extra money won't hurt, you know. 4.5 mics behind, catching up at ×2 speed. Hell yeah. Just don't get ahead of us. That's where we get problems. As excited as I am for Castle Zagig, I actually can't wait for the starter kit to come out. Dude, let me tell you, I'm so excited for the starter kit to come out. We've had like the white box set for a while, and the white box set is beautiful, and it's great, and it's lovely, and we all love the white box set. But the starter set, just like, it looks more approachable, it looks beautiful. Wow, trouble. The art is beautiful. I'm really excited to see it done with like the reforged rules and like all that, you know, special, like all that special stuff. You come here, go say hi. Trouble has been having a good day. His dad took him on a big walk this afternoon, so we're freshly walked and we're happy, having a pretty good time. Gonna give them as gifts this year. Yes, that's the thing to do. They're gonna make really great gifts. I mean, I think they're really gonna make the game super approachable, because Castles and Crusades is not a hard game to learn. Anybody who plays will tell you that. If an idiot like me can get it within like, you know, an hour or two of like parsing through the rules, then anyone can learn it, I swear. But the player's handbook is not really like the most approachable thing to like jump into if you're like me, and big blocks of text kind of intimidate you, which feels stupid to say, but it's true. Some people learn better with like learning the abridged stuff first and forming a foundation with that, and then moving on to like the big kid player's handbook and stuff. Isn't that right? He's like, I don't care, I just want my toy that's on the floor down there. Go get it. Good boy. But how are y'all doing? How was your weekend? How's your past week been? How's everything? It's the whole idea of a basic set. It hooked thousands of kids in the 80s. Yeah, and it's gonna hook them again. We're gonna get them like we did in the 80s. And like the price point too. You're getting all of the rules, most of the rules that you would be getting in like our core bundle, you know, our complete bundle, but for like a fraction of the price, and you cannot argue with that. So we're all very, very, very excited. We've got a lot of stuff in the works. Adventurers Armory is going to be shipping soon, and then it'll be added to the store for anyone who missed the Kickstarter campaign for that. Infernum and Exaltum are moving along. We've got a lot of stuff like coming up in the works. My weekend starts tomorrow morning, actually. What do you do again, Sweeper? Like crack cocaine, the first hit is free. As free as an addicting substance or game can be. I got my delivery that I was to get on April 2nd today after many side quests sent to the wrong place. Oh no! I'm glad it arrived. I'm glad it showed up. We got a copy of the Role Player's Vault, which was, God, it was an add-on for, I think, Reforged, for the Reforged Kickstarter. And that was particularly cool to receive in the mail because, like, we wrote that. Nick and I wrote that, and it's our first thing that we've ever had our names on for, like, writing something in the tabletop space. So it was very, very cool to, like, see that done and have it in our hands. Although, anyone who has received it and has read through it, you'll notice that it has 2 forewords. Because we thought they were going to be separate books. Or, like, separate, like, little pamphlets. And never knew that they were going to be, like, part of the same book, so I wrote 2 forewords for them. But it's fine, we just introduced ourselves twice, and it's fine. I'm a day cab driver for a FedEx contractor. Nice. That's super cool. I did a lot of coordinating with logistics companies in one of my previous jobs, and I appreciate you guys, because... Ugh. Ever see the Pathfinder 2e beginner box? It is the standard I compare others. I have not. You know, I wanted to, like, get into Pathfinder 2nd edition, and I just never... Stuff never lined up. It wasn't what our group was playing, and I don't know if I would have liked it because I know that it is a lot more crunchy, but I do kind of want to dabble. Maybe I'll pick up the beginner's box sometime. So you would recommend it? Waffles is what I'm hearing. Things are going well. We're warming up in the Dakotas soon. We'll be camping and grilling and doing lake things. Oh my god, lake stuff. I can't wait. And outside of that, just spending quality time with friends and fam. That's good. That's the best way to spend time. That's the highest quality time that you could have. No near-death experiences for a while, so that's nice. I was going to say, that sounds like a very calm update from you, Dougie. Calmer than I would be expecting. But very cool. I had gallbladder surgery on the 2nd. Damn, I'm still recovering a little bit. I'm looking forward to some C&C lore. Mechanics are easy for me to pick up on, but I like some juicy lore meat to go with my potatoes. Yes, that's what we do here. We love the lore. I wasn't sure if I was going to read tonight, and I think I want to give it a try. My voice has been a little bit in and out. But hey, whatever. If I start to lose my voice, then whatever, we'll transition and just chat for a little bit. And I'm just gonna pull up the codex so that I have it on hand. Troubles briefly barking. Just kind of scrolling to where I should try to be. Pathfinder is way too much crunch for me, although I do really like the underlying ideas. Yeah, a lot of the character classes seem cool. You played a Winter Witch in Pathfinder 1st edition?
Yeah.
And you, like, take levels from people, right?
No, I think that
Oh.
was
Okay.
that
Th-
was kind of like necromancer thing.
But there's a class that takes levels from their enemies, and that's very cool. Okay. Oops. That's what I deserve. Need to knock on wood and find some horseshoes. Get the physical box as it satisfies those tactile needs. Yes, I like to fidget with things. I'm fidgeting with my lip balm right now. Oh man, you know what would have been perfect if I'd been smart and thought about it, is for us to make a troll guild in World of Warcraft. I've been talking about doing that forever. Today would have been a great day to do it. I don't have World of Warcraft installed. That would have been a good idea. Are any of yous World of Warcraft people? That's what I'd like to know. I have the Pathfinder. God, I read P and started to say Player's Handbook. I have the Pathfinder Beginner's Box too, but I've never played it. I just wanted to have a copy to read. It's fun to just read it. One thing that did happen that was kind of funny, like over this period of being sick, we got back from GaryCon on like Sunday. I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday I had off. And I slept throughout Thursday and I slept throughout Friday. And then Saturday I woke up in like a fervor and I wrote my own game. I wrote a tabletop game. Which is not, like, I'm not a game mechanics, like, person. But it has, like, it has inspired me, for sure, to, like, want to seek out different games and learn what their mechanics are so that I can maybe try to, like, get some inspiration or steal. Uh-oh. The sides of this mug are actually flaking. It's fine. I've played Pathfinder 2nd edition. I like it a lot better than 1st, but there is an overload of information to keep track. On the plus side, no matter what level you are, you feel like a full character. That's the important thing. I don't care as much about, like, the mechanics and stuff. It's cool. Obviously, like, cool mechanics can, you know, really, really help a game. But at the end of the day, if I get to, like, dive into a character and tell a cool story with friends, then that's really all I care about. I haven't played WoW since Lich King. Oh my god. Lost interest when Cataclysm came out. I hear quite a few people felt that way about Cataclysm. That's the one that changed the landscape of Azeroth. Right? Which can be cool. Can be very, very cool. But it can also be like a bummer. Like, it's a setting that you've come to know and love, and now it's different, you know? But I loved Lich King. I've mentioned this a few times, like, during streams, but when I was in middle school, I wrote, like, 3 little... I say books very, very loosely because they were not, you know, long or anything, but I wrote, like, a trilogy of fan fiction for Wrath of the Lich King. And I think that was kind of the last, like, fiction project that I ever really worked on. I recently went back and played through TWW. Which one is that? I very seriously do not like it. MMOs have worn thin for me overall, although I still like playing Guild Wars too. Wait, what is TWW? The War Within. Oh, okay. Cool. I just stopped by to say thanks for helping me straighten out the mailing address on my order. Dude, Goblin King, it's good to see you, first of all, and second of all, it was my pleasure. Totally happy to. It was fun to, like, log into email and see an issue that was very, very easy to solve and not related to backer kit and not super complicated. So thank you for making my day, frankly. The Foundry Virtual Tabletop experience handles the math for those preferring it. God bless VTTs, honestly, for the work that they do of, like, offsetting the labor of math, because I am not good at it to, like, an embarrassing degree. In a twist of fate that I'm sure no one suspected. I needed an app to make a character in Pathfinder 2e. One session and I dropped it. Yeah, you don't want it to be like a thing that you're... Some people enjoy that. Some people love having like a new thing to figure out, and you know, you pound out the rules and you learn the book and you like read about it and all the stuff, and that's fun for some people, but I have a harder time with that for sure. I'm with you. Wow, BFA. Wait, BFA. Before fall. BFA. Oh my god. Bachelor of Fine Arts. BFA. What is BFA? Will you tell me? Battle for Azeroth. Oh my god, I never would have guessed that.
I hate what's happening. I hate
Nick is a font of World of Warcraft lore. It's pretty great. Tried WoW was alright, but meh. That's fair. That's super fair. Here's the thing. I'm thinking that, like, we're gonna make a TLG guild with which to do shit that is, like, stupid. You know? Not actually, like, play the game, but maybe come up with, like, dumb challenges, like, amongst ourselves to go and do. Like, level 1 survival runs and shit like that. I don't know. Like, I just think that would be fun to, like, endeavor with as a community. Check out the tabletop RPG Dread. Savage, you have stumbled into my Roman Empire. I want to try Dread so bad. I'm so interested in Dread. I've been, like, looking it up. I've been watching actual plays. One of the best actual plays that I have ever seen of any game ever is on Smosh Games, and it's their playthroughs of, like, Dread. Every single one of those is so good. It's so entertaining. It has completely sold me on the game, and I would die to play it. I can't wait to try it. I'm so excited. We need a game of, like, in-person friends to, like, do it. So therein lies the problem. But yeah, have any of you guys played Dread? And if so, can I live vicariously through you a little bit and tell me how it went? I like rolling up a character, think about the backstory for 5 to 10 seconds, and then out to adventuring. That's so fair. I lean the other way, where it's more like, I want to think of secrets and backstory and all the stuff. I like to do big, long backstories. I think those are super fun. But hey, it takes all kinds. Dougie says, hi, Nick. He says, hi, buddy. Here's another site to keep track. We played over Discord and stream Photoshop as our maps. Nice. Never played WoW, got addicted to EverQuest for 6 years. That's Blizzard still, right?
No, it's
Different?
yeah.
Oh. Who makes EverQuest?
Well, now it's run by Daybreak. I guess I don't. Originally, it was like a Sony online thing.
Hearthstone is what I'm thinking of, not EverQuest.
Hearthstone is Blizzard's card game.
Yeah, okay. Is EverQuest a card game?
No.
Oh,
It's an MMO like WoW.
alright. That sounds cool. I want to get my hands on Armored Core 6 tabletop RPG. What is Armored Core 6? I've never heard of this. Greg Rage. Yeah. So you know it's good. Yeah. I've been living vicariously through Nick since he's been playing Lancer, and just hearing about big mech game sounds very cool. It's Daybreak. It was variant via Sony, then just Sony. EQ2 had a virtual card game for a while. That's cool. I like to play a character with amnesia so the DM can fill me in on my backstory as we go. Yes! Oh my god, amnesia characters are so much fun. I did a YouTube video on our channel about like tabletop game tropes, and I think amnesia was like an A rank or an S rank. It was somewhere near the top of the list. But being able to collaborate with the GM for your backstory on any level, on anything, is just like, it's so much fun. I had a character who was an amnesiac. This was a 5e game, so like bear with me. She was a Warforged character that was kind of like, she was weird. She, like, her body was, it was meat. It was like the deceased corpse of an elf that had like mechanical stuff, like Five Nights at Freddy style, going on inside, that were like enchanted to make this body like move again and live and feel and breathe and think and all this stuff. And it was meant to contain the soul of the engineer who built her. But actually it contained the two souls of the engineer and the person who used to live in that body who had perished. And so the two of them kind of like fought for dominance, like in this sort of body. That was super fun to play. And it was fun to like work with the GM to kind of make that character come to life too. Not really a tabletop RPG, but my friends have gotten into a game called Dice Throne. It's like Yahtzee meets Mortal Kombat. There's an adventure mode that is essentially a procedurally generated dungeon that we like. We talked about making a game like that with like a deck of cards on the way over to GaryCon. That sounds super fun. That sounds very, very cool. When I'm bored, I picture surf, and when I find a pic I like, I make it a character. Thus I have over 100 characters made for 5e that I probably won't be playing anytime soon. Some of them have good backstory and others don't. That's... oh yes. Oh yes. I fucking love that. I go on Pinterest and make boards for characters, and that's been a lot of fun. I'm back, and so is my hair. Sans the knots. Goodbye, Dark Elf Twilight's hair knots. Welcome in. Hello, hello. Multiple personalities in a character. Love that. Thank you, thank you. Which is the original, and which is the voice in their head. Jacko Boom, welcome in. So it was kind of like a little bit more... so basically what I had done... at that point, neither of them really belonged there. Like, this person, this like Warforged character, kind of had her own sort of personality that was kind of distinct from both kind of like souls that were in there. And we can talk about like the science of like, oh, 2 souls and one of them's been dead for a long time. Whatever. I'm going Stan Lee writing superheroes for this character. None of it really made sense if you think about it for too long, but really neither of those souls super belonged there. So I wrote like a list of like memory triggers, and they were sensory things that my character could encounter during their time over the course of this campaign. So one of them was like blushing from being embarrassed. That was one of them. The taste of like fresh plums was another one. The sight of glowing jellyfish, or like a gilded dance hall. Those were memory triggers. And both souls had different memories that they retained from their lives. And so the more memory triggers that she encountered from one side or the other, first of all, it would unlock memories from those 2 souls that she would then remember. And second of all, she would start to act more like one or the other, depending on how many memories she had unlocked from the 2 of them. It was super fun. I fucking loved that character, and I would totally play her again. But it was awesome. And in the meantime, she got to be just kind of like a little bit of a bimbo-y kind of like, what is that? I don't believe I've ever heard of such a thing. Like, kind of airhead. It was so much fun. Pathfinder 2 has a background for amnesia. It sacrifices a couple skills for attribute boosts. That's fun. I feel like that's fair. I have 2 players playing the same character. So the character has a split personality because they each can only play every other week. The funny part is they are polar opposites. That sounds fucking sick. That is so cool. I wish I had 2 friends that couldn't make our sessions on the same weeks. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. That rocks. What a great idea. I imagine a Warforged would have to heat up to hot forge temperatures to blush. Maybe. She was kind of, so like she had all mechanical like insides, but it was still like pumping blood like through her heart. Or that's the way that I thought about it in my brain. Like her body was still kind of like moving as an alive biological body would. She was like the body of an elf, but it was these machines and like enchanted little implements that were doing all of the moving. I guess it was kind of like a Commander Shepard sort of way. Thankfully I got back into the habit of drawing my own D&D characters, but if I feel lazy I'll pluck one off Pinterest or ArtStation. I want to be good at art so bad. There have been times where I've like sat down to try to like just try to draw, and I keep getting like discouraged because I have not dedicated any time at all to learning how to be good at visual art. I was more like the writing side of creative expression. And so now I feel like I have no bearing for how to even like start. I also wish I had 2 friends at all. Man, 2 friends. Hell, imagine it. Imagine 3 friends. Whoa. My stick figures have been declared a mortal sin by the church, and I have to agree with that. I live drew our Chat Plays one-shot from a few months ago. That was a lot of fun. So funny when the other 2 players tell the split player what happened last week, and he's like, seriously, I did that? That is such an awesome arrangement. That sounds super fun. Well, hey, speaking of like asking if things really did happen, and if you're sure it was me, if you're sure I did that, what if we read? What if we read a little bit about Aihrde? Welcome in. If you're new here, if you're one of like the many wonderful, wonderful new people who came in and followed us over the course of our Castle's Agate campaign, hello, my name is Grace, and every Monday I get on here, and so it takes me a while to get started, but boy howdy, I do read. I promise I read, most of the time. And we read fiction set in the world of Aihrde, which is the world setting that Trollord Games publishes. And we've read through the entire Andnuth twice. And tonight, we're not gonna like start reading the full thing again, but I am gonna start at the beginning, I think, and just read like the creation story of Aihrde, because I think that's fun and I like beginnings. Speaking of Amnesia, one of the best campaigns I've played was loosely based on the TV show Dark Matter, but in the Star Wars universe. We wrote up brief backstories, but all started the game waking up from cryo-sleep with no memories. The entire campaign was spent investigating what happened. That rocks. That sounds really fun. I've always wanted to play a game where you are playing yourself with amnesia. Like, you wake up, you remember maybe some stuff about, you know, your life in the modern world, but you're in like a fantasy or sci-fi environment and generally don't remember anything else. I think that is very, very cool. So, I still have a little bit of a nasty cough. If I can't continue, then we won't, and we'll go back to just chatting, but I think I'm gonna start to do a little bit of reading, and we're gonna read about Aihrde. Oh, yes I can. I didn't realize that the music had gotten too loud. Will you let me know how that is? I hope I didn't just turn it all off. I definitely thought that it looks a lot softer on my end. All good? Okay, thank you. Brought back the same cough from Gary Con Anthony. I'm sorry to hear it. Hey, and Shane Moore, welcome in. So yeah, we're gonna start. If you're just joining us, this is the creation story of the world of Aihrde. Aihrde is the world setting that Trollord Games publishes. If you like Castle Zagig, you will love Aihrde. It is a very full, complete world with over 12,000 years of recorded history. And if you don't believe me, just stick around, we'll get there. And I think we're gonna start at the beginning. So settle in, get yourself a beverage. If you wanna like clean your house or draw or do some homework or I don't know, your life, other shit, this is a great stream to just like settle down and do some like body doubling stuff and just leave me on in the background. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. A wonderful world to transplant Castle Zagig to. Exactly. Easy to do. We want you to do it. Do it. Explore Aihrde. It fucking rocks. And actually, you know what? I do want to explain a little bit before we jump in. So if you're new to Trollord Games, first of all, welcome. Lovely to have you. You'll notice a lot of our products in the store are kind of like Aihrde after Winter Dark, and certain adventures will be like they'll have an after Winter Dark banner across it, and a lot of products say after Winter Dark.
The Winter Dark in the world of Aihrde is a period where an evil god... That's it. An evil god. An evil god was summoned to the world by an ambitious sorcerer and proceeded to rule over the entire world for 1,000 years. And during that time, he blotted out the sun, he tore down the veil between Aihrde and the void, and used it to like cast this permanent kind of like mist over the entire world. There was no growth of any kind. It was just a period of immense suffering for all of the people of Aihrde, and that lasted for 1,000 years. And a lot of our stuff, like adventures and things, begin in the immediate aftermath, where the Winter Dark has just ended. It is a period where like a lot of people don't remember the world before the reign of this evil god king and have only known dictatorship and suffering for generations, basically. And so you emerge into this world that's kind of on the precipice of its very first spring in an age. And anyone could rise to the top. There are kind of budding kingdoms and nations that are starting to rebuild. And it's a period of like just possibility, where before there wasn't. All of the growth was choked out of the world. So that's after Winter Dark. The tale that we're going to read tonight takes place years and years and years and centuries and many centuries and many centuries before any of that. Before the world of Aihrde at all. Trollsah. If you're reading along, we are on page 175 of the Codex of Aihrde after Winter Dark. In the beginning was the void, and the void stood empty of all form. With his first thought, the All-Father brought light to the void, and in this light he saw the empty space from its beginning to its end, and he saw that the void was both enduring and timeless. The All-Father saw the void as a place unrelenting, and he cast out from himself upon it. A great wind rose about him, and thus did he govern his second thought. It stood like a vessel upon the void, wide and open, and from it all his thoughts flowed as a river into the void. But the river of his mind knew no order, and the thoughts flowed out from their beginning in many directions, in streams great and small. Some crossed over one another, some gathered in deep pools, others wandered into the void alone and without governance. He perceived that the streams of his mind would fray and split on their journey through the void, some going whither they would. It was ever the All-Father's desire to fashion his thoughts into form and to order them as he would, for he knew that his thoughts would take on a life of their own and cause mishap to his design. And in this he was prescient, as is known. So he took care and made of himself a shadow to watch over the streams of his thought. The shadow of the All-Father governed the streams and set them all on a course that bent in the same direction, for it was the shadow's task to make certain that all the streams and rivers of his thought ended together in the deep pools. In this was the All-Father's eternal strength evident, but it is also known that when the last of the rivers pool at the feet of the shadow of the All-Father, that the shadow must consume time itself, and thus bring the river of his thoughts to completion. All know that those shall be the end of days, the Gonfod. Time and all things that are or ever were, must end, and only the All-Father knows what comes of a new beginning. None but perhaps the All-Father himself knows when his creation will halt and the Gonfod come, or what might bring it to pass. Thus, the arc of time, what the dwarves call the River of Aihrde, came to be. And from its beginning in the Vesk, that is, the vessel of the All-Father's thoughts, where resided the Aihrde, the first wind, which flowed through the void to its ending in the endless pools. And Thoth, the shadow of Aihrde, was the first of the great order of beings known as the Named of the Val Erechun. So the Val Erechun, as it'll kind of go on to explain, are the major gods of the pantheon of Aihrde, and not all of them have names, only the most powerful. So the Named of the Val Erechun are like it's like the Greek, major 12, where it's like Ares and Zeus and all that shit. Excuse me. Even before the creation of Thoth, the All-Father perceived a mote in the void. He saw a creature who was not of himself and whose form he had not imagined. It was long and serpentine, with claws and massive snout and wings. The dragon. He watched as it rent the void with talon and fang, seeking to unmake the emptiness, filling it with the madness of destruction. And the All-Father knew then that he was not alone in the void. The All-Father learned that there was form in the emptiness. This thought proved a marvel to him, and he sought then to find meaning in form alone. He looked upon the dragon and the havoc of her chaos, and he thought too that he should take form, one ordered to the tasks at hand. He created a shape for himself, with hands to grasp his tools and feet to stand upon. His hair was long and wild, and his beard full and flowing. His eyes bore a fierce light that reflected the lust of creation and illuminated the rivers of his thought. Thus he stood, both beautiful and terrible. He stood then and watched the arc flow from him, time slipping away. He pondered the shadow of himself and the dragon in her infinite disquiet. At last, he ordered his realm and spoke his thoughts into form. His words became tools, and with his tools, he fashioned a great forge and anvil upon the void and a bench for his workings. The iron of his will became the substance of form upon which he beat the shape of things he dreamed and imagined. His words lit the darkness with the fire of creation like no other light before or since. And his words flew into the void, hot like the embers of a flame. Thus, the Aihrde Utpilt, the language of creation, came to be. With his words, he let fall substance from the well of his own being, so it took shape. Some shapes he governed by design, others of their own will. The All-Father labored long and created all manner of creatures, both great and low. The lust of the task overtook him, so that no sooner had he finished one than he began to work upon another. As the arc flowed, many creatures came to be, and these are known as the Order of the Val Erechun. Brevin, welcome in. And those who the All-Father created with his own being. As is known, some of his creations were as the void, empty of life or thought. But others stood aware of all around them, marveling at he who created them. Still others stood in envy, filled with rage and hate for him. Yet others only sought to aid he who had created them, and they loved him. The most stood incurious, indifferent to their creator's machinations, and wandered from his side to find their own paths. Excuse me. Besides the shadow Thoth, The greatest of the Allfather's creations were Corthane, Mordius, and Orndul. An identical thought created them, though Corthane was older. Corthane came of the Allfather's love of creation and possessed his will. Mordius came of his desires and possessed his strength. And Orndul came of his hidden thought and possessed his selfishness, and nothing could contain him. These stood as the named of the Val Ericune. Like the rest, he set them aside, as new tasks called him. When he did so, Corthane held up his hand and bid him wait. Possessed of all that was good and kind, Corthane sought to dissuade his creator. Aihrde, why do you cast us off? For we are your children and wish to stay at your side. Thus, Corthane named the Allfather Aihrde, which is the root of all the words of the tongues that came after, and it means father. And Aihrde looked upon Corthane, and in that instant, Corthane glimpsed the arc of time, and Corthane saw many things from that moment to the Gonfod, when all must end. Though Corthane saw the arc of time, he did not see all that lay upon it, nor did he understand all of what he saw, for it was his fate only to know the road of things. Therefore, he left off his question, and spoke no more. But Orndul, his brother, had not seen the ark, and knew nothing of what came before or what would come after. Seeing only that his brother would see them cast off into the void, he rose in wrath. Orndul reached into the void and took up the embers of a red, hollow light that drifted there. The light sank into his grip, the weight hanging in the emptiness. Stretching its shape, he drew it into a great beam, and with this beam he smote Aihrde upon the heel. When the beam struck the Allfather, the light of it shattered, casting red across the void. Ever after, that light shone in the eyes of Orndul, and men perceived it as hate, and so it was. Orndul had wounded Aird's heel, and that wound played forever in his mind, for in it he saw a mastery of things, and an ordering of his own design. And this was as it was meant to be, for Aihrde created not for tyranny or vanity, but only from desire, and often his designs assumed directions he had not thought. Mordius took upon herself to heal the wound, and she touched Aird's flesh with her naked palm, the only of all creatures in all time to lay hand upon the flesh of the Allfather. She saw the vision of his mind and all its expectant life. She knew then the tragedy of death and the joy of birth and the circle of it all. It filled her with a wisdom unmatched. But the assault did not yield a moment's respite from Aird's work upon the forge of creation, and his labors continued. Orndul saw the hopelessness of his attack, and he thought to bide his time and learn what he might. He hurled the broken remnants of the light into the void, though he kept some for himself, as he retreated into its dark emptiness. But there were others, lesser creatures lingering in the distance, that watched the battle unfold. And one of their number pursued the light into the void and devoured it, and so became the mirror of Orndul. The forge of creation raged on within Aihrde, and he took no further heed from those around him as he continued to pull substance from his own being, shape from his thoughts, and cast it into the void. After the arc of time played out some measure of itself, Aihrde stopped his labors and thought to rest. Shutting his eyes, he drifted in the empty like a man floating in the water of an infinite sea. But his mind raced, for even in sleep, the All-Father was ever the creator of things. And in his slumber, he created the notion of dreams. And in his dreams, he dreamed of things that his waking mind could not, or would not, imagine. Some were beautiful. Others were not. From his dreaming crept a darkness. Taking shape in the void, it knew no light, nor joy, but rather embodied the twisted madness of unsought moments of all that is vile in thought, word, or deed. Its structure bore out the rudiments of the arc of time, and it knew only order, but it also captured the echo of Orndul's rage. The rage did bind The rage did bind with the order of things into a merciless evil. The shape blotted the void, and it was cold and black, and from the darkness came a harsh chill. Those who were with us when we finished the Codex of Aihrde will know exactly who this is. The All-Father rose from his slumber, chilled by the touch of darkness, and he saw the blot and marveled at it. The darkness came to him as a servant to a master and sought to please him, but he saw the evil of it and felt the cold. So he pulled warmth from the fire of his soul and set the warmth all about him, and with that he drove the darkness and the cold deeper into the void. The others feared this darkness, for the creation of it was unsought, and they could not fathom his reason. They gathered in a great host and assailed it, driving it so far into the great empty that it could not see the light of the creation's forge. This the chroniclers account as the first war of the gods. Thus the darkness lay hidden, buried in the undeep, that accounted the deepest regions of the spaceless void for many ages of man, until one summoned him. But we don't have to worry about that yet. That's future millennia's problem. Avoid the void. Gabriel, welcome in. Excuse me. And so, uncounted lengths of the arc of time played out, pooling as it did in a great heap upon the edge of creation, and the All-Father labored upon his forge, taking of himself and giving to an ever-growing host of creatures that began to people the void. Playersome, good to see you. And then he saw that he labored without purpose, and his creations drifted in the empty loneliness or stood to heal about him. He at last paused to see what next he might effect. Wait, hang on, I have a perfect meme for this. Hang on. Hang on. Let me copy and paste something into chat really quick. Can we get hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Can we get some standing men in chat? The Valor Raccoon are just kind of standing around the All-Father while he's working, just looking at each other, doing nothing. Wait, I have to copy and paste it so I can do more at a time instead of just one at a time. Yes, this is worth pausing the story and halting the momentum of the storytelling to do. Can we just get some men standing? Thank y'all for your service. Okay. Because what they do, it's just dark. It's just dark and there's nothing to do. Oh my god, it'd be so boring. Anyway. This is making me happy seeing all the standing men in chat. Thank you guys. Okay, he at last paused to see what next he might effect. He looked far and wide, and his gaze fell upon the dragon, where she hung in the emptiness, spinning upon herself, creating a maelstrom of chaos about her. No fuckery in chat, Azur, you know the rules. He watched her split the fabric of the void in her thrashings, and how those splits tore rifts, portals, and doors to other places beyond the empty, and this caused the maelstrom. So Aihrde drifted to her. Spying her madness, he envied it, and the understanding of it grew upon him, and he saw that she was filling the void with her own madness, wild energies and elements forming around her. And this awoke a lust within him like never before, because as ever, he loved creation. He settled upon her chaos, and the word of her came to his mind. Inza. And lo, Aihrde made the world from the maelstrom. He named it in his voice, and it became the crucible of his mind. He pounded substance from the maelstrom and set great gulfs between the fire, earth, water, air, and energy of all kinds. And these he ordered as desired, so that he could draw from them at need. Life clung to his hammer and tools, and spilled into the manifold realms of his imagining, bringing life to where there had been none before. In later ages, the chroniclers named these realms the firmament. Using the language of creation, Aihrde drew substance from the firmament, casting it into shape upon the void. And so the world came into being. It was flat. Flat earthers, take your W. It was flat, and over its edges spilled the substance of his creation to mingle with the maelstrom of Inza. And the substance of creation fell upon Inza, and she marveled of it, for she knew nothing of Aird's presence above the maelstrom. Therefore, surrounding herself with the heat of fire, the rush of wind, the cold, hard earth, and the liquid blanket of water, Inza began to form and mold. From these elements, and others whose nature passes all understanding, she configured her own world, and its pieces drifted upward to lay upon the underside of the world of Aird's making, bound to it and part of the whole. With it, she caused the mountains to grow, the seas to pool, the skies to dash, and the warmth of day to radiate. Thus there came to be two worlds in the void, one astride the other, bound together. Aird's... Whoa, puppy. There's people outside. Come here. It's okay. It's just the maelstrom. It's nothing crazy. It's just Inza the dragon. It's all good. It's nothing scary. Excuse me. Aihrde settled upon his world. He did. The land was dark, with no light save the light of embers that floated in the void. But these made a shadow of the world that drew creatures great and small. A great host of his earlier creations stole into the world. These were the Val-Arakun. They wandered across the land, taking up refuge in caves and crevices, or riding the air, or vanishing into the depths of the water as their wants dictated. In all this, many of the Val-Arakun listened to the Allfather, as he spoke the language of creation, and though none could master the language, they all learned pieces of it, and the echo of it carried in all that they did in the after ages, so that they too could mold the earth in ways beyond the design of the Allfather. Aihrde knew every shape and crevice of the world, but he could not see its beauty. He remembered, however, the tumult of the dragon's breath and the light it cast upon all around her. Oh, good boy. 2. the echo of Orndul's rage came to him, made in the depths of time when he smote Aird's heel with the first blade, and the light that shone from it, brief and terrible. These thoughts lingered in his mind, and even as he stood thus, with the arc of time flowing about him, the ground rumbled and exploded. In the great column of fire which rose above the land, he saw the beauty of his creation, the rivers, the mountains, the skies. But the fire burned out, and Aihrde grew dismayed, though not for long. The flames awoke in Aihrde a desire to see his creation in the light, and he set about the creation of the sun and moon. You know, let's pause there. My voice is struggling a little bit. So let's pause there and we can just chat for a little bit and then maybe call it a night. But yeah, that's the creation of Aihrde, or at least the very, 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 very beginning of it. What we get past that is the creation of the sun and the moon, and then all sorts of stuff after that, everything that you see in the world. There's like a myth for all of that. I love all of like the creation myths in Aihrde. I think they're so pretty. Wanna get down? Oh, good boy. He's so handsome. But yeah, Aihrde is a super great realm. It's a really fun fantasy world. I've been super interested in learning more about it. And just reading through the codex has been a lot of fun. So those of you that have like stuck around and hung out for some of the lore, I super appreciate it. Hey, DM Chris, welcome in. Good to see you. Sometimes Steve joins us for an Aihrde Q&A. I don't think that he'll be in tonight. And I am not the creator of Aihrde. Steve is the creator of Aihrde. But if y'all have any questions, I can try to answer them. But not with the same level of expertise as Steve, obviously. He's been busy rescuing his drinking stump. He needed his strength for that, man. We cannot let the drinking stump be taken. He showed us a picture, like the river rose up really, really fast and like swallowed their cabin in the mountains like crazy, just leaving mud absolutely everywhere. It sucks. Water damage is just like, I'll take a house fire any day over water damage, because Christ alive, it's so insidious. It hangs around, you know? You have to be so diligent about like getting that stuff cleaned up. Has anyone else here have you guys had any flooding or crazy tornado damage or wind damage or anything like that? We've been pretty much unscathed here. We had a pretty snowy day. It was kind of cozy. We could hear the wind howling outside. That was kind of nice. But for the most part, it's been mild. Just snowy, but we don't mind that. I am going to take a peek to see if there's anybody that we could toss a raid to. It was gently snowy here Friday and Saturday, which was nice. That sounds nice. That's why I live on a hill. Excellent drainage. Ah, yes. Good tactics. We had a lot of snow and then it got warm. That's nice. Tornado, yes. Flooding, no. The big thing around here is hail. Ooh, Jesus. The thing that scared me with hail was actually The Sims 3, because you could like die. Hail could like kill your character in The Sims 3, and so it made me super scared of hail. We've had a few more snowfalls here in Wisconsin, but nothing has lasted. Glad to hear that at least. Winter can't last forever here in the Midwest. It does try, but it's gotta let go eventually. If interested in a CNC tour of Pathfinder 2e, drop me a DM. I will. Thank you for the offer. I super appreciate that. I had hail yesterday. Ugh. I can't remember the last time I've even seen hail. It's been a long time. We don't get a lot of hail in Michigan where I'm from. No tornadoes, but there are herds of cats that frustrate me to no end. Are you serious? There's a cat season? I'm gonna run a Stargate campaign in Amazing Adventures. You should. That sounds awesome. 80 billion years ago, when I was in my spring semester of my college freshman year, we had a softball-sized hail that lasted for over an hour. That shit's scary. That's terrifying. Miss me. Jesus. When do we learn about Brennell the Unbound and his creation of the Pupsarlians? Yes, we'll cover that module. We'll cover it next time. Stick around. Welcome in, Starla. It's good to see you. It was rice-sized, but hey, hail is always a surprise. Rice can hurt. Rice can hurt. I stand by that. The hail here will absolutely hospitalize you if it's a headshot. That's so scary. God, hail is frightening. I'm afraid it would, like, smash my windshield, you know? That's what I'm worried about. We only have one, like, covered parking space where we live. So that's, like, scary to think about. Excuse me. Okay, I'm starting to fade, so I'm gonna go ahead and find us somebody to raid into. Thank you all so much for your extended patience with me while I've been kind of getting back into tip-top shape. I super appreciate you guys. Are our buddies Critical Fail still alive? Yeah, okay, they're still alive. We're gonna go ahead and raid into an actual play channel, and it's gonna be a really nice fun time. But hey, before you go, and before we go, we're gonna be live again tomorrow. I'm actually running a CNC one-shot for the Charisma Cats, if you remember from Blood and Briar. We're gonna be doing just a really quick kind of 2-hour one-shot, and then eventually we're gonna be back with another like little mini campaign. I'm very, very excited about it. But we're gonna be back tomorrow with a one-shot. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you guys want to come hang out, we would love to see you there. It's going to be a fun time. You can affect the dice rolls and give input on how the monsters try to kill them. So we're gonna have a fun time. But we'll toss this raid. Be super nice to the streamers. Their stream looks beautiful. Thank you all again so much for hanging out. This has been lovely. Thanks again for your patience with me. And we'll be back tomorrow. And I'll see you here. Same bat time, same bat place. Steve's going to be live too at 5:30 Eastern. That's 4:30 Central. So if you have questions for Steve, tomorrow's the time. And then I'll be live later in the night. So I will see you guys again soon. Have a good sleep. Get healthy. Stay healthy. And I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.